Hi everyone, Cassie is here, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Elden Ring, and just a kind of free flow thoughts kind of thing, see how this goes. It's my first video, so we'll see what happens. My history with the Souls-like genre, or open world games in general, is very minimal with Souls-like and not a whole lot more with open world. Uh, I'm generally not a fan of the open world style of games. I don't really get into them.
Come over
I'll
here,
play them
my
for a
friend.
bit, and I'll get
With the
uh,
title.
usually anywhere from 10 to 30 hours in before I just decide I don't really want to go anymore. I just want to finish the game, or if I'm not even close to finishing the game, I'll just stop and just move on to something else. And as far as the Souls-like genre, the before playing Elden Ring, the only Souls game I ever played was Demon Souls when it first came out, and I played it for about 2 hours, decided it wasn't for me, returned it to GameStop, and that's it. So I have no experience. I'm basically a noob to the Souls genre. Not a big, huge fan of open worlds, but so that just to give you a little history of me with these games before I jump into it. And the first thing I'm going to go into is the gameplay. I think it's good. It's really solid the whole way through. Almost every single one of the fights I got into I thought was fair, which is rare for almost any game, because most games will have some kind of mechanic where an enemy is just going to destroy you no matter what, and you can't avoid it, to make it as cinematic as possible. Or it's like it's just something that happens in almost every game these days. And or even actually, no, think about it, even back in the Super Nintendo era, that was a thing. Oh, hi bird. But in this one, you get it's the whole thing is fair. There are only like while I was playing the game, I would get mad at the game, think the game did cheated me or whatnot. But when I stopped and thought about it, I always came to almost always came to the conclusion that it was my fault. I should have done something else, and it would have gone better. If I would have done this or I would have done that, that would have been better. And that's a refreshing change of pace, and it's very rare, and I really like that. To the point, and it's even got aspects of it where the leveling is very simple. You level, you increase the stat point, and that's basically it. There are other things you can level too, weapons, spirits, to make the game easier. But really, it's just leveling. You increase the stat point, and that really is also how. Like, there is no difficulty slider for this game. You can't make the game easier or harder by toggling something up or down to story mode, so that you can just breeze through the game without any difficulty, or impossible mode where if you want the challenge of your life. No, it's how you decide to play the game. That's really what's going to make the difficulty. Uh, so if you want to, you can play the game without even leveling up, without the option to level up by being maidenless. You just go through the whole game maidenless. You stay at level 1 the whole time. I don't recommend that. That would be super, super hard. Um, there's also other ways that you can do it by, or to lower the difficulty. Uh, One way is to over level, like I did. I mean, just look at my stats here. I have crazy high stats. Level 176. This is the level I beat the game at. You don't need to be 176 to beat the game. But I just ran around and did a whole lot and grinded a little bit, and so I'm at level 176. So another way to make the game easier is to use things like spirits, which make bosses ridiculously easy in comparison. So if you combine the over leveling that I did with the spirits that I was using, I was basically playing the game on easy mode. Or if you really want to get to technical, very easy mode, because things were so much easier for me than I imagine they were for other people. And I actually have started a second playthrough of this where I've decided to not utilize the spirit summons. Stupid bird. Come here. Who thought this was a good enemy design? Birds with blades on their talons. Gosh. But yeah, so those are my general thoughts on the gameplay. I like it. It's good. It's fair. And it provides a good challenge. And you can also make it easy if you want to by playing the game and knowing its mechanics and how to make it easier. The world is gorgeous. It's huge. It's interesting. And I love exploring it. It's one of the few open world games where I actually had a good time exploring the world. And that is rare, and I'm really happy that I did. I managed to get, see, this was what, 90, I think it was 92 hours by the time I finished this playthrough. So I didn't even quite make it to the 100-hour mark. But I still want to play it every once. Like, it's not a game I'm going to be maining, hammering home. I'm playing a lot of other games right now, so but it was very good. The world made it, the exploration of the world is what makes it so much more worthwhile. I've tried Elden Ring. Elden Ring. I've tried Elder Scrolls. I've tried the Fallout series, and all those games they don't hold my interest for more than 30 to 40 hours at most before I decide I don't want to go anymore. I don't really care about the world, and I stop. I want to learn more about Elden Ring, partially because the lore is just tremendous. It's so interesting and it's so deep that it is worthwhile to just explore that. Just try and find as much as you can. And that's a nice way to segue into the story of the game. Because the story of Elden Ring is skeletal. Like the actual, when you play through the game, 2-in-1 hit, nice. When you play through Elden Ring, the actual story of what your character is doing the whole way, without doing extra stuff and looking at extra items, it is bare bones skeletal. There's not a whole lot to it until you start to look into the game and discover what the story of the world is. So when you're talking about story for Elden Ring, it's not the character's story. It's not so much your story. It's the story of the world of Elden Ring. And it's not my favorite way of telling a story. I wish there were... I prefer the standard character-based progression of a story. That's how I like my stories. So as far as the story goes, I like the lore. I'm not a big fan of the storytelling. All right. But yeah, so overall thoughts, awesome game. I think it's one of the best games probably that's ever been made, even though it's not really my type of game. I still like other games better. I'll always be a bigger fan of the great JRPGs and so on than this one, just because that's who I am. Those are the type of games I really enjoy. But the fact that it was able to hold my interest for an open world game when most of the other open world games can't, is a testament to just how good of a game this really is. And that's really all I got to say about that. Please go ahead and let me know if you have any comments, thoughts, criticisms, critiques, anything you have about this particular review, because I'd like to continue them. Well, it's not so much it's kind of a review, more of a free flow thoughts bit. But either way, I'd like to hear more because I'd like to keep on doing it. I'd like to get better at it. But yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to me ramble. And I hope to see you again in the future. And if you want to check me out some more, I do stream on Twitch Monday through Friday, sometimes on weekends, early morning, United States time. So yeah, come say hi. Uh, if otherwise, if until I see you again, I hope you have a good one. Later.